Hey, Cal.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We're in.
What's up, brother?
Hello.
Hey.
How's it going?
Scary.
Thank you for keeping us all safe.
Oh, not having that.
I was so worried about contracting it, you know?
Oh.
You're not supposed to gather in groups.
Right. True. I should have worn my face shield.
You got the beer ready?
Like Shredder off the Ninja Turtles.
That would be good. Yeah. There's some pretty good masks out there, you know? I'd go with Darth Vader, I think. But Shredder's strong.
Shredder's pretty cool.
You know what would be really sweet is Lando Calrissian off Star Wars. You know,
Very much so.
when he goes to see Jabba the Hutt, he's got that badass warrior mask with the claws.
Yeah.
Did you shave?
Yeah, it's a good one, that one.
Oh, mate, I had to, man. I felt like I was.
Look at you. You look dead clean, you kitten.
Oh, I'm so sure. Just for this.
Fresh.
Proper fresh.
What are we drinking?
I'm having a little plunge orange pale ale, gentlemen.
Decent.
Coffee.
A little bread and butter. Pinot for.
Mark, I love
because,
that.
you know, it's 8 o'clock somewhere.
Is that it? Where's the? It's definitely 8 o'clock here.
Yeah. Skelly, talk to me about what's going on in your life here, buddy. It's been a while. You got a little.
That's about what's about to happen.
How much longer?
16th of May. Pretty much another week, isn't it?
Wow. But it could happen right now.
Anytime. But to be fair, we thought it was going to happen over the weekend. She was getting a bit uncomfortable, and it all started. You know, it was just something felt different in her, like it seemed different in her, but it didn't. It didn't kick off. But I don't know. I mean, we're ready for it. To be fair, I mean, we've been ready for the last couple of weeks. We're fully prepped. The car's packed. The food's made. The blankets are ready. All like the birthing plans in force. It's wild, isn't it? How did yours go?
It's crazy. They let you take these things home.
Totally.
You know,
like you've just bought it. Yeah, that's yours. See you later.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, man, it's you ever flown a jet before? No? Here are the keys. Have fun.
Michael, I can't wait for you to have that baby.
Oh, Kit and I'm going to be bringing little things straight up to you.
There you go.
I'll look after it.
Get in.
Yeah, that's the best contraception there is, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's
Crazy.
it been like there for you guys? What's it been like sheltering in place? And I mean, is anything open right now? Golf courses aren't open, right?
Go on, Kit, and I'll let you talk for a bit.
I know it's all right, Mr. Skelton. I like you and Mark haven't seen each other for a while, so I'm bystanding for now.
I mean, for me, my life hasn't really been affected greatly, to be fair. I mean, I didn't go back out to China in like September last year. So I've been working for the last 7-8 months. My brother and I set up an online wine company. So I've been doing that day in, day out for the last 7 or 8 months. So it's not really affected me too much because there's only me and my brother doing it. So it's not like we need to go to a place of work or that kind of thing.
Right.
I mean, it's literally came at the. I'm not saying obviously there's been a lot of pain out there, which I can totally sympathise with, but you know, it's not really affected me too much. I mean, I'm not around people that often, to be fair. Being grafting all day and then straight to bed, straight up do the same thing the next day. There's been no golf apart from going to the driving range, which I've missed. I've been going down the beach all the time. I have a beach about 2 minutes walk from my house, so
Oh, really?
I've been practicing down the beach on a night. It's perfect.
Is it a lake or ocean?
It's the North Sea, freezing.
A very big lake. A very big cold lake.
A very big lake on the right-hand side of our country. Yeah.
Do they have any sort of precautions for the hospital that you know of?
When Laura's contractions start getting to the right length, obviously we have to go through. But then mean, it's been known just through the things that I've been reading and through some of the hypnobirthing things that we've been doing with a little hypnobirthing coach. If she goes to hospital and then she goes back a little bit to, not quite the stage of giving birth, then obviously I have to drop her off, go sit in the car somewhere, and then wait to be called up for when she moves back to the phase of when she's going to be giving birth. So there could be a point there where we're not together, and I hope that the baby's going to be a little bit late, because it seems like a few of these pillars that when the lockdown first started to happen, it was like every day there was, we can't do this now, we can't do this now, we can't do this now. It seems like it's moving to the point now where it could be, oh, well, this one's back in, this one's back in. We might be all right for me to be there all of the time. So if she's a little bit later, I think that would suit the birth miles better, because there's nothing more scary than having a baby with a stranger midwife in your company. You know what I mean?
And hopefully you get as lucky as we did. We just had amazing nurses, and they were so nice and sweet. And like, I don't know why, but each one of the nurses had 4 to 6 kids, each of them. So they were just compassionate. And I think that if I hadn't have been there, she would have been okay, but it would have been just sad not to be there,
Yeah, totally.
Gosh, I hope that Laura stretches out as long as she can, so you got a chance to be in there. But that first hour afterward, it's a beautiful time. There really is.
Yeah, the little golden hour. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we'll see. It will all play out the way it'll play out, and everything will be all right, I'm sure.
When are you going to have one, Cal? So you can be part of this conversation.
Well, I mean, it's been talked about. Definitely, it's we're just kind of seeing what happens, really.
I don't know about you guys, Mark, but for us, it was like I got back home from the last tournament that I played. 2 days later, we went on a holiday, and that was where we got pregnant.
Vacation.
Oh. Yeah. We went away for 7 days, 10 days, something like that, and it was like there's no respite. We got back, and then like a couple of weeks later, Laura was like, I feel different here. Like,
did you take your holiday in Chiang Shan?
No, Wuhan.
Well, that's fitting. Perfect.
The start of the virus.
Kid will be immune. What's going on there with golf, Cal? Are you hit any shots into mattresses or what?
Well, yeah, I've set myself up a little hitting station in the garage, but yeah, it's not very good, really. I mean, it doesn't look like golf's going to open until we don't know. I mean, people are saying Monday, people are saying 2 weeks on Monday, people are saying a week on Monday, but golf courses and driving ranges are literally closed, and that's been now for 7 weeks, so it's not good. And then obviously Korn Ferry have kind of released a schedule, but the US border's closed, so myself and Steve have asked the question of what is going to happen. I mean, we need some information, and they said just sit tight and we will provide more information when it comes available, really. But I'm no expert, and I don't think anybody's any expert to know if this is if we're going to be playing again at June 8th, or we will be postponed another month. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. If it June 8th is the date that they stick with, you'll obviously, they'll get a green card, they'll help you out with that. But will you feel comfortable coming over and playing?
Oh yeah, I do. I mean, like Michael said, Skelly, I've been living a normal life, really, as in I don't interact with many people. I either go to the golf course, see my trainer, be out on my bike, and I've just obviously I've been having FaceTime sessions with my trainer pretty much every day, 5 days a week. And then I've just been going out on my bike and just literally hammering myself on the bike until I was tired enough to stop, and then just making my way home, really. And then
that worked out well for Camilo Villegas.
Well, I'm not ripped like him. I've still got a bit on me. But then just cooking food, doing house jobs, and yeah, just staying busy. Really, I'm a jack in the box. I can't sit still.
Yeah.
I cannot sit still, and it's. I found it well. I thought I would find it tough, but I've actually found it okay. It's been nice to learn how to actually sit still and just chill.
Yeah. And Skelly, you've
I
had.
think it's a funny one, isn't it? Because for us golfers, I mean, I don't know why I've just put myself in that bracket there.
Wine cellars.
For golfers and for
Golfers
you
and
know
wine
when the politicians and when I guess the advisors of the world are advising on what to do with whatever's going on right now, because it is what it is. We probably won't find out what's really going on until a couple of years down the line, probably. But I mean, where Cal and I live, we live out in the country. Like I say, I've got the beach 2 minutes away from me. When these guys are addressing the country, or I'm sure, like for you guys, your country, like when all the politicians are addressing their countries, it's like they're almost talking for the cities where people are congregated together, for people that are living in high rises, for all this kind of thing. Like this is where politics kind of lets not everybody down, but where it kind of breaks down a little bit, because no environment is the same, is it? And so Cal could easily go ahead and kept on prepping the way that he wanted to prep, because he doesn't play in the monthly medal where there's 120 guys turning up. Obviously he's playing tournaments, but he's not playing in things where there's going to be a lot of people around. He plays with a couple of people, plays by himself, practices, that kind of thing. And it's like,
well, even for me, Skell, I think even that monthly medal, they're playing in 3 balls. They go in the pro shop, they check in, they get in the car, and they're going on the golf course. And if you're telling me the golf course isn't safer than a super environment, then
yeah, you're kidding me.
You are kidding me, because I go to the supermarket and there's people literally stood in my pocket, and you've got the supermarket staff saying everyone stand 2 meters apart, and there's people breathing. It's crazy. But obviously our government and everything have thought that golf courses and these activities should be shut down, but I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah,
it's not the outside that we need to fear. You know what I mean? It's not the countryside that we need to fear. Yeah.
We're not going to get too political here.
No,
we're not getting too political.
I thought we were talking about golf and not politics.
It's okay. I don't know. Like right now, it's almost hard to separate some of that. Right.
I agree.
And
because you're not playing golf, Cal. Like you guys aren't playing golf because of the politics.
Yeah, I'm right with you. Obviously, we've technically been told that we're returning to work, golfers on the Korn Ferry Tour on the June 8th. And it's tough because we're still in lockdown. Obviously, the US are kind of opening things up on a daily basis. Golf courses in certain states have been open all the time, I believe. I don't think they've closed.
Some of them,
Social distancing has been obviously a factor where I'm sure the rules and regulations have changed. But so if we're going back to work on June 8th and then we're still in lockdown for another 2 more weeks, we can't get into the US for another one. There's just so many factors. It's just crazy. And then obviously Korn Ferry is an international tour. And I just hope that the decision that's made is transparent with all players, and obviously we aren't penalised for being international members, because there's been so many rumours about quarantining when you enter the US, which I totally understand. And then obviously we can't enter the US and we need a travel exemption. But obviously the Korn Ferry Tour are working diligently every day, and I'm sure it's crazy all these decisions they have to make it a safe playing ground. But I just hope when that decision comes that it's fair for everybody and it's consistent for the full tour membership to get going again, and obviously safe for everybody to play. It's not just golf. Obviously, all these sports are trying to return. Mark, over here, Premier League, soccer. It's like NFL back in US. So much money involved.
Was it particularly hard, weren't they? They had like multiple people on teams that were getting sick, and right.
Oh, yeah, and managers and things like that. But they're talking about returning. But now players are coming out and saying it's not safe for me to go and play a soccer match and then go home to my family. I've got a child or a new baby like yourself, and it's, I don't know. It's the list is endless. There's such a snowball effect on all of this. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, is looking at Miles, my little guy, and thinking, okay, I'm going to go for 2 weeks to Florida and play a best case scenario when, things could be. The other thing too is like, we see the numbers on a delay, right? Like people could be asymptomatic before they test positive. So we could be on a 2-week delay. So when we're told, okay, we're going to play on June 8th, we're looking at maybe numbers that are coming out from mid-May. And then we get there and we realize, okay, there's been, it's not really that safe to be on a plane. It's not really safe to be, traveling. There was a spike in this area, whatever. And then you got to figure out, okay, now I've got a family. How long is it going to be until I see them? And meanwhile, nobody, there's such a lockdown. Nobody can go help Sarah, my wife, and Miles, right? So they're kind of on their own. So there's just, I didn't want this conversation to be super heavy, but like everything else right now, everything feels kind of heavy, right?
Oh, 100%. Everything is.
Yeah, it does. I don't like, obviously, similar to you, Mac, with having a child coming into this world, like very soon, it's like this new terminology of the new normal. I'm not saying that it scares me. I just really don't like it. Yeah. I don't like the way that the terminologies and the language that's used is like, well, you're going to have to deal with it because this is the new normal, and when we see like outside of supermarkets, the lines and the 2 meters apart, like it's really difficult. Don't you find it's really difficult as like men that are approaching their prime that, physically, I feel great. Like, I don't feel like there's been anything wrong with me. I don't feel like I've ever had anything. I don't know anyone that has had anything around me. Everyone's been fine. And it's really difficult. I find it really difficult to stand there, wait in line when there's an empty shop pretty much that used to have anywhere from 50 to 150 people in it at any one time to now having like 10 or 20 in it. I find it really difficult to stand there and be patient and be like, this is all for a good cause. Like, we don't want to get anyone hurt, all this kind of thing. But I haven't kind of that old school mentality of, I haven't seen any of the badness that I've been hearing about. I haven't really seen it too much. And I'm just, like I said, being out in the countryside, being away from the cities, because I'm sure it's been miles different in the cities where people who come to get, I think it's been totally different. Like I say, I haven't been there, but just find it really difficult. And this whole new normal, this is the new norm. And the little kids that are coming up at like 3, 4, 5, 6, like they're just starting to wake up to the world around them. That's going to be their normal. And that is, it's almost heartbreaking.
It is. It is. 2 points to being in a store and not seeing anyone around you. I was in the store the other day and there were, it was Target. It was just this, just giant super Target. And it was the quietest place. You could hear the air conditioning coming through. Right. It was so quiet. And it was so eerie and sad.
Yeah. Sad.
And I just wanted to walk down the aisle like singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" or something. Right? I needed to do something because and all the people that are working now, they're just kind of young people, right? I think pretty much all of the older people that didn't need to be there have left. And then I was in the grocery store the other night, and this guy literally sneaks up behind me, because there's this whole other segment of people that, to the points that you've made, they don't see it because we're not in the city. We're not where there are spikes. We're not seeing, hospitals being overwhelmed. We're just hearing about it. So they're like, I don't see it, so it doesn't exist. So this guy sneaks up behind me, and I turn around, like startled by him. He starts coughing. Do you know where the bread aisle is? I was like, sir, if you could kindly get in your car and drive as fast as you can into the nearest light pole, that's where the bread aisle is. You fucking savage.
Oh my lord! Do you think he was doing it to play a joke?
I don't know if I was wearing a mask, so he might have been just one of the, somebody who was just like, oh, this is just bullshit, and yeah, just trying to troll me. But either
Oh,
way,
I tell you
regardless of why he did it, he did it.
That's
Doesn't
crazy.
matter either way.
I will tell you now, I've literally lived my normal life, as in going out on my bike, going for a run, supermarket. The only thing I've done is practiced or played golf, but I've never been
Like that's a big part of your normal life.
I've never been stopped on the road once. I haven't seen many police. And then over this period now, obviously for 7 weeks, and the more I've been out on my bike, and I've seen so many people. Obviously, it's great that people are exercising to keep themselves mentally sane. But over this period of 7 weeks, I've seen more cars on the road every other day. Like from week 1 to week 6, everyone's starting to get sick of what's going on. Yeah. And obviously they're not taking it as serious. And well, supposedly I've spoke to Jack, and he said if you're caught in Australia outside, the police are literally sending you home and giving you a ticket. But he FaceTimed me this morning, and he's getting his hair cut. So I was like, well, surely it's not that strict. You can sit with your barber breathing down your ear. And he said, yeah, we've only got X amount of cases now. They've only got 86 cases in the whole of Australia, but I'm not sure if that's true, false. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty difficult thing to have everybody on lockdown and make sure that they are keeping on lockdown, right? It's an impossibility. I mean, there's only a certain amount of police force that can enforce that kind of thing.
Unless you're China.
Yeah, I mean, but this is the whole thing of the flex of China, isn't it? I mean, China isn't. For us guys that have been in and out of China for the last 3, 4, 5 years, China's not the past. China's the future.
I mean, I was talking to Charlie Saxon the other day about this, and we thought about our time in Wuhan, and we remembered that, was it the 7th hole? And we think that might be ground zero for coronavirus.
100%.
Remember that? You remember was it the tight par 5?
Tight par 5.
Yeah. Hit the fairway. It's about this big.
Yeah.
This was brought up today. I'm not sure if it was on Twitter or it was in one of the groups I was in. Didn't the leader, who was Rory He, make a 14 on there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Rory.
I don't think it was Rory He.
Yeah, it was the really tall guy, I think it was.
Quincy Quick.
He was playing beautifully, leading by a bunch.
Yeah.
He went from leading by 2 to just inside the cut line, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
he did, didn't he? I mean,
on Saturday, actually.
It was the final round, wasn't it?
No.
Isn't it amazing how memory works?
Yeah. But that was crazy. The snake signs on the right.
Yep.
And then I remember the left, they had all this fescue, and it was like a steep hill, and then it went down to these ghost condos.
Condos,
As far as you could see, these structures were built, and they were just gutted. There was nothing inside them. They were on the outside. They looked beautiful.
Yep.
That golf course was amazing as well.
Which is why I got a really good view of it.
I'll tell you what, the golf courses in China are just that good. And they can be very crazy, but when you think about it, the golf courses we've played over the last 3 years, just think of what they're like. Incredible.
Ridiculous. Mini tour golf like nowhere else on the planet.
100%.
Yeah.
James Moore posted now he's doing his PGA, which is obviously a teaching degree. He posted an interesting post on his Instagram saying, the question was, do you actually enjoy playing golf competitively? And his pictures, it was like a pic collage of 4 golf courses when he was in China. And he got some very interesting responses, but I spoke to him about this question, and he said, just looking back in this lockdown of all the pictures I've taken from China golf courses, and he said the golf courses were that good, and they were.
Totally.
Unbelievable.
They were incredible.
It's such a shame that the PGA Tour haven't had like a decent run over there.
I know.
There's always seemed to be something being in the way, right? What was the first year we were there? 2016, maybe.
16. Yeah.
16, and so everything was gravy that year, wasn't it? We went to some great places, amazing golf courses. Then the head of sport in China, or whatever it was, the Olympic Association, or whatever that governing body is, whipped their legs out from underneath them, or whatever happened there. And then it came back for a year, and then it's off again. It's like they've just never really had a fair run.
It was really good in 2016, but you could see the writing on the wall, I think. And I remember being pretty friendly with a general manager at Lanhai, the Nicholas Links course there.
Yeah.
And they had government agents crawling that place the whole week we played. And we sat down for lunch one day, and he was telling me about just the chaos and the stress of it all. And they were looking for any little thing that they could find to shut him down. And they had started looking into the visas of players as well. But like mainly they were just looking to shut the golf course down. And then, you know, obviously, was it 17 that they instituted that on a much wider scale, and courses were shut down left and right, and the tour didn't happen at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the amount of golf courses that were closed down and bulldozed. Ridiculous. I mean, Chembaishan.
Crazy.
Your favorite place, Skel?
Oh, I mean, Chembaishan, what a golf course that was.
Well, I was talking about, well, I can remember every one really, but Lanhai, Ronan Blizzard won on a rain-shortened week. Skelly caddied for me at the weekend. We went out, and in the rain, we were 4 under through 7. We went from like T56 to top 10, and the leaders hadn't even teed off. And then we got called in because obviously the rain was just crazy bouncing. Skelly, this is the week we stayed in the Chenzai Zen.
Chenzai Zen.
And the crab was falling in the foyer because they had like an aquarium where they, and then that's the week you got sick.
The aquarium.
That was the week I got sick. I had coronavirus.
I think it was about $11 a night we paid.
It was. I mean, that hotel was that bad. Our first year in China, and where was the host hotel that week?
The Hyatt. Like £150 a night.
Us northern lads were like, we're not paying those prices. We'll go stay down there. And this place was, oh God. I mean, it was like something from a comedy, wasn't it?
And across, they had that little town across the street from it was the Forever 28. The play on the Forever 21 chain in the U.S. Forever 28. That's what I want to be now.
Oh,
and I remember we played Chengdu the week before. I ate hot pot Saturday night because everyone was raving about the Szechuan hot pot. You had to have it. So we went out and had hot pot. And we went into town, got it. I got on a bus to come back, and I started feeling really tired. And I passed out. Got back and I'm like, man, I feel off. I felt super bloated. And within probably like 30 minutes of getting back to the hotel room, I was vomiting profusely. And for the whole night, I had my arms, I was spooning with the toilet.
Yeah.
And I couldn't move the next day. I mean, I was, I don't know, T9 or something like that. I tried to make it down the elevator, and I was like crawling once I get to the lobby, and I withdrew.
Yeah, that alongside the punishing heat. Because it was warm in Chengdu that week, wasn't it?
That was like 105 that Sunday.
Yeah.
And
Tell you
so
what, I'm going to make just a brief comment on that and a brief admission. I've never been sick in China.
Do you know what? I was just thinking, I don't think Cal's ever been ill.
wow.
Nah, the only time I've been ill when I've drank fake alcohol, which was quite a bit, to be fair.
Well, I was going to say, well, it must have been all of the Qingtaos that you were having that kept it out of your system.
Sorry to interrupt, Mark.
No, your immunity, you should not worry about coming to the U.S. with Corona in full stride.
Oh,
Yeah, that Sunday night or Monday coming to Lanhai and getting to that Chenjia Jen, and I remember we got up to our first room, And it just like, we opened the door, and Sarah was with me, and this rank, foul, musty smell just overcame, right? When we opened the door. And when I stepped onto the carpet,
Oh, do you remember it?
Yes. I was about to say,
the whole carpet was drenched like someone had left a hose on in there for the night before.
I remember. Oh, I remember because honestly,
Our floor was crawling. I'm sure our floor was crawling.
That was probably, that is the worst hotel I've ever stayed in my life.
Yeah, I mean, we're giving it a pretty bad rep here because every other hotel was really nice, but it's those weeks that stay with you.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and then you've got, well, I remember, I think Munro had his missus there, and she was staying at the Hyatt, and we tried to sneak in one night for the buffet. I think we did anyway. We did sneak in.
We did.
Oh, and it was like heaven. It was just, everything smelt lovely. And
air conditioning.
Oh, and then we went back to the brutality of our hotel that was just crawling with bugs and.
So that we ended up changing rooms, and then the other room they gave us, we had gotten in pretty late, I think, and we changed rooms. We went to sleep pretty early because I was still, just reeling from being so sick the night before. And I'm trying to sleep, and then you just hear this scratching in the walls. And it's, it's like just running nails on the backside of the wall on the other side of the bed headboard.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, I don't want to turn the lights because I just don't want to even know. You're so exhausted. I didn't want to know what's on the floor beneath me.
Yeah.
And the next morning after, getting no sleep for like 48 hours, I went down, and there was already a line of people ready to just check out.
Yep.
And went down and like said, hey, how is your room? Because this is what our night was like. And there was somebody who would spend the night trying to kill a bat that had gotten in their room and was swinging like a 3-iron at it all night. I don't know if they had left the window open or what, but there was a bat in their room all night. So I'm waiting in line, and this guy is sitting there reading a newspaper, not listening to the people in front of him at all. And then all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see something moving across the floor. And I kind of turn my head, and coming towards me is a lobster crawling across the floor.
This is what happened to me.
It was the crab for us.
Towards me, and I'm looking at the guy with the newspaper up across his face, and there's somebody complaining in front of him. He's paying no attention. And I was like, hey, yo. I was like, I think dinner's trying to get away here. Right? And, little did I know, like, that lobster and I had something in common. We were both trying to get out. Get that lobster out.
I wonder if that lobster got out alive.
Oh, exactly the same. Hey, and do you remember how bad the elevator was?
Yeah, I think it looked like a murder scene.
Teeny. It was like teeny. It was like something out of a Saw movie. It was like.
do you know what? That's what that room reminded me of with all the fish tanks. I was just thinking in my head, it was like when the lobsters crawling before the crabs. It was that from the first Saw movie. It was that operation theatre.
The guy on the bike to come around the corner and be like, "Oh my."
Hello, Callum. You want to play a game?
Hey, man.
Yeah,
that's the stuff that sticks with you. That's the good stuff.
That is the good stuff.
We had so many great weeks too. Skelly, you won at Whitebirch, right?
I was sorry.
Chiang Mai Shan, you won up there, didn't you?
No, I gassed it.
Finished second.
Gassed it.
With my
I
putter.
finished second. What are you saying?
With my putter. The fang.
That you took back off me the next week.
No, you liar.
You took it back off me.
You had it for 6 weeks. I said, hey, I was
Basically, Cal's got a magical putter. Unbelievable putter.
I'm going to get it. It's down on it. Wait there.
Show and tell time.
Yep.
Oh man. When did you stop playing, Skel?
September.
September?
Yeah.
And
Missed it every day since.
Have you?
Yeah, I mean it's in us all, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean I've been missing it every day.
Oh, here it is. That's the magical putter.
That's it there.
The China Fang.
It's just a fang. I tell you what, there's a good story behind this.
I love good stories.
Just so this is 2016. It's when we obviously I started up there and Skelly, so we got pretty friendly with Jake Unan and Raymond Bofils. And we used to have these like Ashes matches every week in practice rounds, and it got to when we played the event in Beijing. What was that course called? Oh, Topwin.
Baldwin.
Yeah. So we were staying on that like little city where it was strange, and we rented an apartment
Yeah, that's right.
on that site to sleep 4 people. And by this time, Ray was, I think he was pretty much done with golf, missed the cut and was flying home. Anyway, I picked this up out of Ray's bag and started swinging it around in the room, and I said, what are you doing with that? He said, oh, pretty much in nicely. He's like, you can have it. It's a piece of whatever. So I was like, okay. And I just recently got like I think it was a V line at the time. I said, oh, well, look, I'll switch you. You can have the V line and I will take that. And ever since that day, it's just, it was so good to me in China.
Ridiculous.
It was the key. I mean, it wasn't the key.
Cal found Excalibur. That's what happened. He found his Excalibur. I'm telling you.
You pulled it from the stone, otherwise known as Ray Bofils' bag.
And to be fair, it's had a few weeks out, but it stood the test of time. I used it in 3 years in China, and then I used it last year on the web, and I'm still using it. So it's had a few weeks off just to make it upset and want to be back in the bag, but it's still here.
Has it been reshafted, Cal?
No, it's very marked up. Look at the back; it's almost silver now.
Yeah, I thought there was a sticker on the back of it.
When you returned it, it was brand new. When I give it was brand new. When you returned it, it was horrendous. There was dinks in it, there was marks in it, and I was just like, "That's it now. He's never lending anything again."
I had it a week.
No, you had it 4 weeks. I remember because I took it back off you on the way back from Kunming. I said, "Skel, can I have that putter back, please?" And you were like, "Do you really need it?" I was like,
"Oh, I was gutted."
And,
I was gutted.
Yeah, that's the story. The putter, the wand.
There's something with that putter, Mark. I'm telling you, the balance of it is perfect.
It's just one of those things that they can't duplicate the specs of.
Never be able to do it.
Hey, and that's right, because I asked them to build me a replica, and it's upstairs, and it's nowhere near. It's
That's
nothing
the
alike.
thing. When you find a club that really works and you just want to duplicate and you ask them to build it, and nothing replicates what the original can do.
I mean, that's amazing, that, isn't it? Considering the older guys that have played, the Trevinos of the world. I mean, Nicholas had the same 3-wood his whole career, didn't he? Something like that. Obviously had it refaced, or Persimmon Wood had that refaced. But the modern guys move things around so much compared to the older guys, it seems.
So frequently. Well, they're selling clubs.
Yeah, I know they're selling clubs, but like...
You're getting paid millions in it.
What's that?
If they're getting paid millions as well. If you paid me millions to play a different putter, give me it. I'll put it in right now. So.
Yeah, true.
But to be fair, obviously the likes of Stricker. Have you seen Stricker's bag? It's crazy.
I bet this guy...
Who's that? Can't see.
Who's that?
Hogan?
Can't see.
That's some vintage stuff there, Skells.
Yeah, this is, I've got this March 11th, 1957. This is an original Sports Illustrated. It's the first edition.
Wow.
Nice.
Like that. Check it out on the back.
And that's when it was actually illustrated.
Exactly, actually illustrated, yeah.
You ever wondered where the illustrated in that name comes from? You guys knew each other before China, right?
We did, but not massively well.
We only played.
Because of that age gap.
Yeah, so we only played once. We did actually only play once before China. No, I lie. We met. I remember when we met. Actually, it was like 2015, back end of the summer,
Yeah.
and we played with one of my old coaches and Skelly's his golf club. We played at like a local golf club, links course, and I knew of Skelton because obviously he's ultra famous in our area. He is the absolute Fushman. And we had played 18, and how China come around. Michael deserves a bit of credit for this, actually. We played golf. There was me, Michael, and James Moore, and we said, "What's your plan next year, Skelton, Michael?" And
Why do you keep calling me Michael?
I don't know, I'm proper Skelly. And I just turned pro, and I had no kind of just fresh out the blocks from college, thinking, yeah, I'll find somewhere to play. And then Skelly was like, I'm going to China. And me and James Moore, who, Mark, I'm not sure you've met him, but he played in China for a year and caddied for me, kind of laughed at Skelly because Skelly, being Skelly, you kind of have to laugh at sometimes the things he says, you know what I mean? So I was like,
wait. The guy whose goal in life was to lead the U.S. Open through 71 holes and walk off on the 72nd tee and never be heard from again. You're saying that guy. That's the guy you're talking about.
It's because the thought process is so alternative, isn't it? That sometimes it's like, go to China.
So he was like going to China. We both laughed and went away and did a bit of research. And I said, well, you know what? Looked at it. And I said, I'm signing up, I'm coming. And then James did, and he signed up. And in the end, there was four of us. There was Michael roomed with a guy called Sam Robinson.
Yeah.
James ended up taking his girlfriend for a holiday. So they had a week after in a holiday vacation in Kunming, and I roomed on my own. I'm not sure how that vacation planned out for James in Kunming, but
it didn't pan out very well, did it?
Story for another day.
I mean, bearing in mind that he'd been to the tour school, missed out by a couple. And
no,
he missed it.
No. This is the first year. This is the initial.
I know, that's what I'm talking about, because I played with him more in the last round.
Oh, you did? And yeah, so Skelly shot 68 at the weekend to get in on the number. I was like, and then at the end, he was like, I said, what have you shot? Because he shot 68 on Saturday. He was off before me I was in like the second last. I think, did I play with you, Mark?
You played behind me in the last round.
Yeah, in the second last.
Something happened on was it the 15th hole, that shortish par 4? And
yeah, the drivable one.
We were playing. There was somebody in front of us who was a pretty like sketchy dude. I can't remember who it was. And something happened. He hit a shot, and I think it was like he hit it way right, and it was like way out of play. He's like, oh no. He's like, I'll find that. He's like, I'll find that. We just, we were like, we've heard this guy's reputation. We're not sure about that.
Yeah. Was that the drive, like kind of drivable one?
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit over like a bunker. I remember your sight line was like a bunker that wasn't far off the tee.
And then 17 was like a big ball, but you were looking down into it kind of, and then it went up to the green.
Yeah.
Yeah. 16 was that par 3, massively downhill.
Yeah.
Yes. I've got you. Yeah. And I came off, and obviously I don't know what. I think I shot 71. I was like, "What did you shoot?" He's like 68. And I was just so grateful that someone from my little realm had made it, because then I had a roommate for the year.
Yeah, and that's the top and bottom line of it at the time, isn't it? It's like you're going to this place that's going to be like pretty difficult. You're not sure about it, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, thank God, there's another one of us coming out here.
Yeah, and not being funny, I mean, Skelly will not back me up, but he'll understand this. I had so many people from the golf scene saying, "Are you rooming with Skelly?" I was like, yeah, Sam, yeah, I'm rooming with Skell. Like, we're going to China. They were like, he's absolutely wild.
He's mad.
Fully putting me off him. And I'm not being
funny. I don't know where I get this reputation from.
I'm not being funny. I promise you now, and I'm not saying it because he's on this call. I choose him as a golf roommate over anybody I've ever roomed with.
Big time.
Because
we're precise, aren't we?
yeah, we're both tidy. We both, well, I like to sleep a bit earlier than Michael does. Skelly does. Like I just nod
You
off.
can't decide what to call him today.
Oh,
I mean, you can go with the full name if you want.
you know what I mean? Because I can see that recording button up on the left, and I'm trying to be nice.
He's called me worse things, Mark.
But yeah, I mean that's how we kind of just clicked, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a reputation for being like for being wild, don't I? And I just don't know where it comes from. There's an alternative thought process, 100%. But like, as an individual, like, I'm pretty chilled and pretty like normal, I think.
Well, I think you choose when to get it and when to not get it.
Got to choose the people, ain't you, Cal?
Yeah. You know this time. Well, you know this. There's times you're the normal person I room with and we get along, and then these conversations arise, and I'm just like, where the fuck's that come from? And I'm like, what? And the list is as long as my arm. The stories I can say about you and the things you've said in the past, it's that funny. And you know it is.
Hey, Mark, it says the guy that talks in his sleep all the time.
Oh,
God. Little did I know that I needed to take some earplugs with me
just
on
in
this
case
first
his
trip.
family or Ashley ever watch this, we don't need to know what he says.
Oh my! No, he talks to you like he's wide awake. The first one that I have, this is mint. This one, the first one, like, obviously, we're sleeping a couple of feet apart. Like the beds are a couple of, like, we were all sleeping close, right? He's like, Skelton. Like, this is the middle, literally 2:30 a.m. Skelton. I'm like, what's going on? What? He's like, have you seen them bunkers out there? It's shocking. And I'm like, what are you on about? He's like, they might as well call it the No Sand Classic. And I'm like, is he awake or is he asleep? Because this can't be a real thing. 2 seconds later, on his back.
Snoring.
Unbelievable. He's asking me one night, have I got my Bushnell on me? Skel, have you got your Bushnell? Skel, have you got your Bushnell on you?
Hey, what's the yardage between our beds?
Totally. I'm like, is he being serious here? They were funny, them, because then it became such a thing that I had to start remembering what he was saying. Because the Bushnell one, he finishes it off by walking to the toilet and talking to Scratchy Bushty. He calls me tapped.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh man, how much of that do you remember? Are you just notorious for sleep interaction?
No, I've done it all my life pretty much. Not that I know of, but everyone I've roomed with on golf tournaments or my girlfriend, or they've always said sleep talk. I mean, I don't know what it is.
And it's not even like, Mark, it's not even like he talks in like when you just wake up on a morning and you're a bit husky and he's talking to you like he's been up all day. It's as clear as a bell.
I've actually downloaded an app before and recording apps, and some of the things so funny.
It's totally lucid, and yet you need a translator for it.
Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, but yeah, I'm fast asleep because I sleep better than anybody. Well, I would.
Yeah.
We had a sleep competition.
I could sleep through a war.
I'd be there. I'd be right with you. But yeah, it's just one of those.
Who did you room with, Mark? Did you always?
I brought
Sarah came out a lot, right?
I brought Sarah along this. I room with Niall Platt.
Yeah, I remember Niall. He's a good singer, Niall.
What's that?
He's a good singer.
He is a good singer. He sings like a bird.
Easy question for both of you. What was your best golf course in China, or on the PGA Tour China or China Tour?
So for me, it was, we all know about this because we played in China, right? But when you're playing a Chinese golf course and then all of a sudden you walk around the corner and it's like, oh, who drew this whole Walt Disney? Like it happened frequently, didn't it? And then at Kunming, you play 17 of the purest holes ever.
Yeah.
And then you've got a par 4 that's 450, but you can drive it. It's just like, that was close. Kunming was close for me.
What hole is that?
18. Kunming, where the purest golf course in the world. The
Purest turf ever. Pure greens, elevation.
Cut the areas out and re-square them on a night.
Returfed, yeah.
Remember?
You remember it was like a 3-wood down to the green. It was like there was out of bounds right and long. Driving range was on the left hand side, but it was like 430, but playing 100 yards downhill plus elevation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like they used to call supposedly that's gone.
That course.
No way.
Yeah, it's been dug up. Yeah,
Shocking that.
and found out when I was back in end of last year, 19. That was the Augusta of China. That was the purest golf course in China.
100%.
But what a golf course!
It played like it as well, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, incredible. Mark, what's your best one?
Gosh, there's a lot of good ones. I thought the course in Chengdu, for condition wise, was
Yeah, it was good.
spectacular. That was like the most purely conditioned course, and we all shot 1,000,000 under.
Which one was that?
That was for the Cadillac Championship that
Yeah,
year.
you finished about 6th, Cal.
Is that when Alex Kang won?
Yes.
Yeah, 29 under.
And he shot 10 under in the Pro-Am as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked White Birch quite a bit. But the views that you got in Hong Kong, like Clearwater, you just couldn't beat those. That piece of land it's the most valuable piece of land outside of Pebble Beach that I've seen.
Has to be.
100%. That's probably, if you can take me in the world to anywhere that'll rival that, then it's pretty special because that place is.
And obviously it was so pure as well, wasn't it? They had it in amazing condition.
Yeah, what a place that is. China, if anything, it's so visually tight off the tee.
Yeah, it's intimidating.
It was great. This is
that really helped our game out though, Cal, didn't it?
Oh, heaps and bounds. And this is one little thing. Yeah, me and Skel, we went. Do you remember that first event in Zhengzhou, Mark? It was
St Andrews.
Yeah, St Andrews. We got there. That was our first event of the China Tour 2016, and Skelly didn't hit a driver off a tee peg for the first 6 weeks in China.
Yeah, because my safe shot was always driver off the deck, and we've came from golf courses over here that obviously links courses get really tight with a fescue either side, things like that, but you can always get away with hitting irons off the tee and having it run out, and all of the parkland golf courses in the UK pretty much, even if they're tight, you can play from the trees. Whereas you land there and you go straight to St Andrews, and it was like, for us, if you miss the area, it's reload.
Right. Yeah, that was the introduction to China golf.
Yeah, and it was. You remember the par 5, the second tee? Like that was one of those tee shots where you were hitting up into like a 25-yard gap.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
If you hit it shorter, it was a little bit wider, but you didn't really have a view of the green if you hit it down the left. And the wind's howling off the left-hand side, and just like, this is going to be a long year. This it's going to be a long. Bearing in mind, because I'd came from not driving the ball well for a long time, and Cal at the time wasn't driving the ball well either. And we just each year, like, we found, and I would say I'm a pretty good driver of the ball now, totally thanks to China.
You had to have a few different swings for sure. You had to have your get it in place swing. Yeah, and depending on whether it was wet or it hadn't rained in a day.
Exactly.
It was never dry. But you had to have your different shots and different flights.
Skelly was figuring something out. This was earlier in the week, I think. It was like Wednesday. And Roger had fitted him for a Callaway 3-wood. I remember I had Snapchat at the time, and I was stood behind him on my phone. I just videoed every swing. He's like, tell me what to hit. I'm just like, he didn't know I was videoing. I just pressed the button. Low fade, bang. High draw, bang. And I'm not saying it because he sat on this camera. I'd say it to anybody. I've never seen such a clinic of 3-wood, and people think Stenson hits it good off the floor with a 3-wood. You want to see Michael Skelton hit it good. It was, and it sticks in my head tonight to this day. And everyone's like, "What's Skel like?" I'm like, "He's a world #1 range player. Simple as that."
Unbelievable on the range.
He's that good on range. It's just frightening. But
what's your kind of takeaway from your time in China? Like, there's two like divergent paths where like you and Cal are both like these world-class players. And, you know, Cal won the money list and he advanced, and he sees you, and like we all see you, and we think that guy is a world-class player. And like, what, just in reflection, what had you learned that you could, if you could go back and like give yourself some advice when you started in China, that might alter kind of the trajectory?
The beginning of China. I would probably say, because sometimes I can put a little bit too much time pressure on myself. You know what I mean? Like, we must get it now. We must get it now. We have to perform well now. I would probably not put myself under as much time pressure. I think that's what I would, in fact, that's definitely what I would do. Even if I could rewind 10 years, 15 years, I would probably not put myself under the time pressure. Do you know what I mean by that?
I do.
100%. That happened. And I'm not butting in, but that's what happened to me last year. I went out to the web not expecting, but thinking I'll do well, and put this pressure on the whole year, thinking I've got a full card, I've got to maximise it. And when I kind of finished and lost it, or didn't make the 75, I came home and went to Q-School, and I just thought, you know what, it's one of them. It's just, it is what it is. And now, and then going into this year, and with what I had, I think it was 8 guaranteed starts, and I think I've started okay, but there's more to life than just golf. And I think this lockdown will teach everyone. Me and Michael or Skel, we've been locked down for 7 weeks. I thought I'd be like a jack in the box, jumping up and down and wanting to be out and scraping the walls. Put me in for another 7 weeks, coach, because I can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've always thought that because I'm not playing, I should be out there. And now it's FOMO, isn't it? Fear of missing out. Simple as that. But you just gotta be patient and just ride the wave.
You really have. I mean, if I could rewind 15 years and tell the 21-year-old Mike Skelton, listen, like, 35 is not an old man. You know what I mean? It's those kind of like being, and I'm not even saying being present. I'm not saying don't be hard on yourself. I'm not saying don't try every minute of the day, all that kind of thing. But never getting too far ahead of yourself and putting things in an order of like, well, if I don't get it by this time, then, you know, it's game over. You know what I mean? That's where I think I fell foul a couple of times. But it's also really easy to say, this is what I would have done different when you failed. You know what I mean? Because some people might have had the same process of like, we need to do this by this time because I don't want to be there doing this when I'm this particular age, and they might have succeeded. You know, it's easy. It's always easy to say what you would have done different when you failed or when you didn't get to where you want to get to, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing to see how players kind of hit their stride when they let go.
Yeah.
And the idea, like I can think of like 2 pretty distinct examples. One is Max Homa, and he talked about when he went into, I think it was the Wells Fargo he won, when he went into the final round, how insanely nervous he was. He was playing with Rory. And he kind of made peace with the fact that he could shoot 80, and it could be just a miserable day. He's leading the PGA Tour event, and he's like, what's the worst that happens? Let's think about the worst that's going to happen. I shoot 80. I have to answer a couple unpleasant questions in the media tent afterwards. And next week, I get to play again. The world goes on. It's not like, oh my God, here's I've been working for this for so long,
Yeah.
and this is my one chance. And that's when you press. And it's kind of like the opposite of what I think a lot of sports psychologists teach you.
Yeah.
It's really counterintuitive, and I think it's something the more experience you get, the more you realize that letting go as the tension mounts and the opportunity gets more focused is actually the way to play. And Charles Howell was the other one. He won in the part of the wraparound season early last
year.
Yeah, and it was
down in Georgia, wasn't it?
Georgia, Sea Island.
Mm.
And he made a triple early in the final round when he was leading. And he's like, well, I think the guy behind him was Cam Champ had the lead at that point, and he was leading by a couple, and then basically Howell just fell all of a sudden out of contention. He was way down the list, the leaderboard. He's like, well, I have nothing to worry about or lose now because the worst that could have happened just happened. All of a sudden, he just claws his way back, thinking, I have no expectation now. And it's the strangest thing to just try to describe, but it is so true, and it's something that you wish you could go back and teach your earlier self.
100%. I have a very similar situation with when I was saying that before going out to China, I really wasn't driving the ball very well. And there would be particularly, when you're going and playing your practice round, you're preparing for your tournament, all this kind of thing. And there's just there's one or two drives out there and I'm not even talking about in China now, but on a golf course that you're like, I just really don't fancy this one. And I know that I have to step up. And I know that I just have to be in the moment and I just need to really hit a good drive here. And I was always at times a little apprehensive about stepping up and hitting a particular shot. But then actually when you do step up and hit a bad shot and you go find it in the trees and you have to punch out sideways and you hit a miracle shot to 2 feet and you make a par, and then it's just like, it's not even the bad shot that you're afraid of. It's the feeling itself. It's the anxiety before the shot. When you talk yourself into a bad shot, but then once you've hit the bad shot, it's like, well, that was terrible. You know what I mean? It's like you're not even that bothered about it. It's weird.
Yeah. Was that it? You just think, well, was that?
I can deal with that. I'll go find it. I'll go chip it out sideways. I'll make a bogey. Big deal.
Right.
Yeah, it's a strange one, that the apprehension, because it's also the flip side when you're playing well, isn't it? And you're like, I already know this is going stiff. Like, I know, I can feel it, I can see it. This is going to start there, it's going to finish there, and it's going to be flush.
Right. Yeah. There's no barrier in between that idea, that thought, and your execution.
Yeah. It's just pure flow. It's like, yeah, well, it's that whole thing that you're talking about where it's that all the barriers are down.
Right.
I think Michael would have been a very good player if them barriers came down.
Oh, don't you start. How many of those beers have you had there?
It's the same one, you know. Because you don't like that, you know it as well. Don't start getting in the eye, or son. You're a machine. You still are. You tell me now, and this is the God's honest truth. Still one of the best golfers anyone will ever see. Yeah, man.
Well, I hope you guys get the chance to be the roommates again on the big tour.
I do.
Because that would be just too great. Skelly, I wish you the absolute best with your diaper duty.
Thanks, Mark, and to you guys as well.
Do you have a name picked out yet? Keeping us.
It's apparently it's going to be a little girl, so I really like Rose. I really like Iris.
Iris.
Yeah, Laura's not too keen on Iris. We're kind of settling on Rose right now, but apparently you find out when you see them, have a couple of days with them, names start coming to you. So I'm not going to commit too early, I don't think.
Well, everybody just calls the little one baby when it comes out. That's no matter what the name is for the first couple of weeks, it's just baby. So.
Yeah.
Skelly, call it kitten.
Skeleton.
Kitten.
Buzzing.
Oh man.
Well, good luck with that, Skell. Keep us updated.
Yeah, we'll do. Thanks, man.
Nice to see you both. And
yeah, and to you. My love to Sarah as well.
Soon.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. It's been good fun.
Yeah,
I
boys.
hope to see you in a few weeks to be, well, hopefully June 8th, but I mean, I'm not really sure if that's going to happen, but we'll soon find out. I think by the emails, they have to actually let us know by tomorrow. They said 4 weeks notice.
It's coming up. Yeah.
So we'll soon find out, but yeah, see you soon.
We'll pick up this conversation again then.
Perfect. See you, boys.
All right,
Much love, guys.
Thanks
Thank
for-
you.
See you all
Bye
later.
bye.
Bye-bye.